I've noticed that ChatGPT is obsessed with neon.
Okay.
Have you seen this? Like
A little bit, especially in the generated images, yes.
so like I have generated songs, probably a good portion of those come out with some sort of neon reference in them. Like under the neon lights, the neon glow, the neon something or other. It's probably no coincidence that our gaming rigs are powering all this stuff. Like I have 9 fans in my PC that are all neon. It's like, okay, maybe you're onto something. Maybe it
Might
is
be.
just, refactor your C# code with primary constructors. This is a brand new article by a friend of mine, David Pine. He is a fantastic writer. He works on the .NET Docs team. And he's writing about a new feature in C# 12 that is called the primary constructor. And I've used this a couple of times here and there, but it is super handy at making your code read a lot easier and a lot less like verbose. So let's see if I can find it in the examples here. There we go. So basically, you can use or write your constructors in a much more tight syntax. And let's see if we got. He's just demonstrating functionality there. I'm trying to find. Well, you have to read through the article. It's a little bit more complex than what we can discuss here on the show, but the dev tools in Visual Studio will actually help you write this. Why can't I find the right demo here? Oh, there it goes. We're dropping it in the bottom. I am failing at this live demo of it myself here. But David Pine wrote about it. I've used it. Give it a try. This is not working for me.
Answer me it sounds like it's semantic sugar. Is there a difference between, what's the difference between a primary and a default constructor?
Pop quiz. All right, so here we go. There's the piece I was looking for. So you could see the constructor here, where we've got a public worker of iLogger, and then you've got to set up the the backing field.
And before you answer, Ed, I'm just going to quickly. I'm assuming the default constructor is parameterless, and the primary constructor can support parameters. That's my guess.
Primary constructor does support parameters,
and it can be hidden through the compiler.
Yeah. So this is the demo I was looking for. In the Visual Studio tooling, the refactoring tools, you can hit this use primary constructor and remove fields option here. And you can kind of see the code that it's removing all in red, which is quite a bit. So it's taking the entire constructor out and the backing field, which was a read-only field of iLogger worker. And then it just drops it into the constructor itself.
How? Where?
Or the class name itself.
Oh, so my apologies. It's on the class declaration. Okay, I get it.
Boom.
I got it. So I get it. So it's on the class declaration itself.
Yes.
So you provide a parameter list on the class declaration. That is new. Okay, I got you. I was looking for this. I'm like, where the heck is it?
It looks like you're passing an argument.
Yes.
To a constructor, but it's actually in the class declaration instead. So this. What looks like a parameter assignment here, or parameter argument assignment, it actually is creating all of the code behind the scenes in setting up backing fields, creating the constructor, assigning the values to the fields.
I can see the reasoning for this. You're putting it deep into the compiler logic. I'm sure the discussion was had about putting this in via attributes. I'm sure this, maybe there's I'm speculating here. It's probably better to put it into the class declaration because you're basically making it absolutely concrete and solid from a compiler's perspective, whereas attributes can sometimes, cause things to, go amok.
Yeah, this makes it feel a little bit more like a native language feature, which it is.
Yes.
So, it took out one. Let's see, line number 5. So it's 1, 2, 3 lines of code and some brackets. So you could say 5 if you wanted to really.
Well, that stuff will still be in the MSIL, right?
Yes, it will. So it's going to take that, yank it all out, and then it just drops it into one set of parentheses at the top. And that is super handy for just cutting down on the amount of code that you
It
have to
is.
read through.
Part of me can't help but wonder, like, that might be easy to miss. So, you know how your eyes glaze over when you look at code like this quickly?
Yeah.
I could easily see I missed it when you were looking at it. I didn't even see it. It took me a couple of seconds to see it. I was like, oh, there it is. Okay.
And there's nothing in here that's like super technical either. This is like if you just have fields that are getting set. So if you have, additional work that might have to be done in a constructor, so if there's any kind of complex logic in here, you can't really take advantage of this. But if it's just simple, prop setters, which is mostly what we do with these things, you can, negate having to write most of those after you use this tool a couple times.
These sort of remind me of C++ templates in a sense. So they don't look the same, obviously, but they kind of look. It's sort of akin to that, which is you're decorating the class declaration with additional semantic stuff and letting the compiler do its thing.
Yeah, we get this with like the prop getters, the auto prop stuff.
Yeah.
We kind of get used to it over time, but it's a super handy feature. And it lets you write less code, and I like it. So give it a look.
Do my job.
Yeah. I mean, we're all going to not write code here pretty soon because of AI anyway. So on to more Microsofty stuff. They had some good blog posts this week. Some real smart stuff. This build and test resilient apps with .NET Dev Proxy was a nice read.
We've talked about this before, the Dev Proxy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've talked about chaos monkeys and all of that stuff, and this is just another way of doing that through a demo that they have set up. This new what is their store called? They've had it for years. They keep rehashing the
AdventureWorks.
It's not quite AdventureWorks anymore. It's not
Contoso
quite as,
something.
Yeah, it's like the Contoso style, demo app. The quote Azure Store,
just using
I guess
that.
is
It
what
could
it's
be
called
anything.
now.
It could be a console app. It doesn't matter. But basically, the Dev Proxy runs inside the context of VS or an IL application-based application, and you just basically use this to track what's flying across the wire. You could use any number of tools to do the same thing. Fiddler comes to mind. Ngrok also comes to mind.
And the example that they have up there runs on all the new hotness. So if you're getting into Aspire, .NET Aspire, like this app has like all the things in it. I don't know if you've ever tried the new store app out, but it has this whole micro architecture pattern that it follows with the Aspire. So you get like all of your various APIs, and then you have various front ends as well. So it has like a Blazor front end, a Maui front end, etc. And you can spin them all up on your local machine. It has all the containers are built in. I think you just have to have like Docker installed, and VS handholds you through the installation of that as well. So you just clone the repo off the .NET samples GitHub repo, and you're pretty good to go with this stuff. So check out the build and test resilient apps article that's up there.
This isn't a plug. I mean, I don't work for Progress. You do. I still prefer Fiddler. Fiddler is my tool of choice. I still use it. It gets updated all the time. I'm not going to use this. I'm going to use Fiddler. But there you go.
Yeah. I mean, you can always combine tools as well. I'm sure
No.
There's some overlap there, but
one tool.
Use them all.
No,
use them all.
That's right.
I mean, if you want to debug anything going back and forth between your Aspire app, why not use Fiddler, right?
Or Fiddler Cap, another tool.
The .NET MAUI Community Toolkit version 8 is up, and there is touch support. So it looks like we've got an update to the MAUI toolkit.
Yep. Yeah, I've always liked these community toolkits. There's one obviously for .NET itself, and it contains a whole bunch of different controls. This is sort of like an ability for the .NET team to get out sort of like these features out fast and early. And so the .NET MAUI Community Toolkit is in that same vein, provides a whole bunch of additional functionality. And now with this release, as it says, we're bringing you the much anticipated touch behavior, previously known as the touch effect. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of these. I think you should check them out. They are well supported and allows you to integrate these features quickly.
Yeah, it's normalized across devices too. So if you have an iOS device, or an Android device, or a Meta Quest 3 device, there's actually touch gestures.
No. How about no?
Touch gestures in there are weird. I should write an article about it, but like 2 people would read it. But
You said the whole thing is weird.
There's
Wrong.
2 modes for the Quest. There is a far mode, which puts the apps in like a giant big screen picture mode. There's actually no touch in that one. You have to use the controllers to interact with it. Then you can hit a button and it will like make a little virtual tablet in front of you. And that one you can actually virtually touch, and the touch gestures do work in there. And I'd have to try this in it to see if these touch gestures work, but I do know that the Maui touch, like buttons and everything, does work. So that's a thing. It's a thing now, John. There's going to be articles to read about that soon.
It is something, yes.
Yeah. There's a publisher that is working on putting out my in-depth article about how to do all of that, by the way. All right. What's new for .NET in Ubuntu 24.04? Is this the one that was kind of pushed back a little bit on release because of the XY attack?
I don't know if it got delayed because of that, but I know that Canonical just shipped Ubuntu 24.04 recently. Noble Numcat, Numbat rather. A Numbat is an Australian animal, by the way, in case you weren't aware.
Anything.
No. Huh?
Yeah, with bat as a suffix is probably an Australian animal.
Spider bat. There you go. Sure.
There we go.
Why not?
Spider crab bat.
That's right. So Richard
Koala.
Lander here, friend of ours, good Canadian boy from Microsoft, has written about what's new in terms of .NET and Ubuntu, which is awesome. The reason why I mentioned this and the reason why I thought this was relevant is because a lot of people use Ubuntu, whether they know it or not. If you're running a lot of container images, for example, in Kubernetes, or you're using .NET workloads on Linux, for example, you're probably going to be using Ubuntu. Ubuntu is the default sort of one used for GitHub Actions and all that sort of stuff. And so Ubuntu 24.04 LTS is available. There's a lot of stuff mentioned in this blog post which you may not be aware of, which is fine. There's this new thing called chiseled containers, which is a thing brought to you by the fine folks over at Canonical. Chiseled containers are like extremely slimmed down images of Ubuntu, makes them super secure, really just the base workload, etc. that what you need. But in terms of the release itself, there's lots of stuff. In fact, Canonical mentions .NET. It actually calls out .NET specifically in its blog post. But Richard goes through all the stuff that's relevant to .NET in particular here for Ubuntu. The big news here is obviously Ubuntu 24.04. That's the big news, basically, that it's available. And I think it's great. I think it's definitely a match made in heaven for me because I'm a huge fan of this distro, and I think it's a great distro to use for all your workflows.
Chiseled containers is also the nickname I give myself after Ab Day.
There you go. I set you up there. Nice one.
Let's see. How many viewers did we just lose?
That's right.
Just kidding. A little bit more about that Canonical Ubuntu release.
This is their blog post that talks about the release. So lots of stuff there. If you're at all curious, you can check it out there. So there's a technology that's mentioned in here called the Intel Quick Assist technology, which basically is it's like a set of APIs and stuff for data compression and encryption. It's basically hardware acceleration stuff. I don't know why teams are so bad at naming these things. Microsoft takes the
naming is hard.
This stuff. Yeah, I know, but Microsoft. But anyways, Ubuntu 24.04 features the new 6.8 kernel for Linux, confidential computing, integrates supported performance tools, as I mentioned before, with Intel Quick Assist technology, or QAT. There you go. That's not BAT, it's QAT. So there you go. The LTS for this will be supported for 12 years. So for those who are running these workloads in enterprises, that's going to be a huge win. So 12 years from now, 2036, hopefully we'll still be doing eat, sleep, code. Will be a little bit more grayed and grizzled, and we'll be talking about the deprecation of 24.04. So there you go.
If we are not, our AI selves will carry on.
That's
John.
right. Just waiting for my robot replacement, So
I like to see the cross-referencing here. So we've got the Ubuntu desktop,
the Windows subsystem for Linux,
yeah.
Whizzle.
Being cross-referenced
Whizzle.
on both the blog post from Canonical and from Microsoft.
I don't think that's unintentional. Sorry, that's a
No,
double
I don't
negative. It is definitely intentional.
Yeah. State of CICD report.
Yeah.
Again,
So the
another
CD
top
Foundation,
level state of the
state of the world.
Yeah.
This is actually written by Steve, who's a colleague of mine at Octopus. So
excellent.
So the CD Foundation, we're members of it at Octopus. This is a group of folks who care a lot about continuous delivery, and they put out an annual report. Been doing it for a number of years now. This is the latest version of this. This is the CICD report for 2024. CICD, a lot of people, it's kind of like brushing your teeth. You just kind of do it. You see ICD and you don't really think about it, but it is important, right? You don't want to lose your teeth. So make sure you keep up your dental hygiene habits. But when it comes to software, CICD is incredibly important. It allows us to test our code, allows us to deploy it, get it into the hands of customers, was extremely important. Anyways, some of the more interesting notes about the report itself, there's the obvious ones that will come out, AI, integration, yada, yada, yada. But the one that is actually always interesting to cite is that in this report, they commonly say that the more tools, not the less tools, the more tools you use as part of your tool chain in a CI/CD context, it tends to correlate strongly with a higher performing team. So what that tells you is that if you add more tools to your tool chain, your workflow, your workloads for around CI/CD, like more testing, more observability, more deployment tools, we have a solution for that called Octopus Deploy. Sorry, shameless plug. The better performing teams you tend to see correlated with that. So that is always an interesting insight. More tools, not less.
Speaking of tools, HashiCorp joins IBM to accelerate multi-cloud automation.
That was a serious punch there, Ed. You're like, that's not even a jab, that's an uppercut.
I have no way out of that one. I don't know anything when it comes to CI/CD. I'd love to have some brilliant observation of all of it. I just don't.
Nice. So the broad strokes of this 6.4 billion US was the purchase price based on the stock. I think they offered it at 35 a share. HashiCorp, by the way, IPO'd, and I think at one point they were at like just under 100 at one point. So it's been, you could argue it's been a long and slow decline in their stock price. But HashiCorp plus IBM, they've got some investments in Ansible. The latest joke I heard was like, I hope they don't call it Terraform plus Ansible is called terrible. So I know that was the latest joke I heard, but kind of like shrug shoulders online about this. IBM, not the most exciting company in the world. Let's face it, they've been around forever. Even their logo's boring. I don't know. I like HashiCorp a lot. I used to be an ambassador. What? They're boring. IBM is a boring company, so I don't care. I'm not gonna. What are they gonna do? Oh yes, degree. So, I used some of their workstations back in the day, and OS2 Warp was pretty awesome. I'm really dating myself now, but anyways, that was the last time I would deal with IBM. They do a lot of space. They do a lot of work around cloud for sure. And so this merger, I don't know. It's like one of those things. They're doing a lot of stuff around multi-cloud automation, as the post indicates. I think what will be interesting is sort of like what will happen now, like what's next. So we'll see.
Yeah, IBM is a really strange one. So like I remember back when I was a kid, it was like every magazine, every, tech related thing revolved around IBM.
Sure.
And then for some reason they just turned into this like company behind the curtain that you don't hear about.
Sure.
And you do forget about things from time to time, though. Like IBM was on Jeopardy, not
Deep Blue.
too long ago, but long enough ago, with their Watson AI platform, and it like made all sorts of news. It was a hot thing, and then kind of didn't get any attention for a long time after that, and it's been like doing things behind the scenes. It's been very like corporately, enterprise implemented AI solution. And now like everybody's all ChatGPT and all the large language model stuff that's come out and gotten into the consumer hands. And like we forget like Watson was, God, how many years ago? And that was kind of in the same realm of AI, right?
Hmm.
Like when did that premiere? How long ago was that?
Well, we've had neural networks since forever. I mean, neural networks have been around a long, long time.
I'm thinking more in the modern sense though, like
well, okay. Well, we still use neural networks.
I know, but
Those
I'm
are
thinking more like the stuff that we've been, kind of talking about on the show recently.
that all uses neural networks.
Yeah, I know, but it's, the hot topic of
All
normal
right.
humans. The normies are talking about
I get it. I get it. Like IBM, yeah, that's why I say, like, I don't mean to, I'm not slighting IBM the slightest. I mean, they've got really smart people there and all that. But when I say boring, what I mean by that, they're not Apple, right? They're not, like, people aren't lining up outside the office buildings of IBM waiting for their latest release. Like a new whatever they produce anymore, nothing consumer based. So it's just boring, to me. I don't know.
2011.
Yeah.
13 years ago. 13 years ago, IBM was demoing basically what we think of now as ChatGPT on television, and then kind of went dormant for years. Like, people talked about it for a few weeks, and then it just like, it's been happening behind the scenes, like in big
It
companies
has. I
and
mean,
stuff. But
the reality is that the problems we're throwing AI at now are far more interesting than what we were doing back then. I mean,
yeah,
what were we doing back then? We were throwing AI systems at like Go, the game Go. We were throwing it at chess and I don't know, whatever, Plunkett. Who cares?
and now
But
we're
because
doing like super interesting stuff, like making the Mona Lisa sing,
sure,
creating parody songs on the
yeah,
internet. Yeah, we
this is what
always go
happens.
down this
This is
rabbit
what
hole
happens.
on the web. Like the internet always devolves things into
Oh,
garage
sure,
sales
yeah, yeah.
and,
It's all about the ha-has. So there you go.
anyway, onto one of my favorite subjects and one that you're not going to be super excited about, John. Talk a little bit about AR VR.
Oh, good. Here we
I wish
go.
I had a bumper for it. We don't have a bumper, right?
What would you want?
We don't. This is John's bumper.
Yeah, there you go.
It's about the only bumper I have.
I'll just be asleep. I don't care. I don't care.
We have opened up the mixed reality ecosystem with Meta Horizon OS. Are you excited, John?
Ecstatic.
The operating system that is on the Quest is now, I don't know if this is a new word that they just coined. It is for me, the Meta Horizons OS. So what they've done is they've actually opened up the operating system and they've said, if you want to build a device that runs our Meta Horizons OS, then go for it.
Yeah.
So
I think
this is supposed to...
I think the more interesting part of this story is the fact that Meta, for whatever reason, has suddenly taken a shift more towards going open, meaning their AI stuff is open source now. This is now open. I'm assuming open source in some capacity. I don't know what their license is, but basically it's I don't know if this is like a mandate from on high, but basically Meta of recent, from what I've read, and this is just a guy talking, so don't take this on anything, but from what I've read, it looks like Meta is actually shipping a lot of source code these days.
Yeah, and maybe it's a thing of they know the store is where the money's at, not the hardware.
Sure.
Maybe that has something to do with it. I'm just speculating. I don't have any inside knowledge there, but that might be something to do with it. I know they supposedly lose like $100 per headset.
Oof.
Like all gaming consoles do. And then they try to make up for it with software sales, right? So if you get somebody else to eat the $100 a headset fee and you're still selling software, then yay for you. This is like the Steam model, right, on PC.
I was going to say they could solve this if they went the Windows way, which have all those pop-ups that appear in your headset. So
Speaking of the, Xbox teamed up with Microsoft to do the cloud gaming stuff. It's really cool. So maybe the next generation Xbox will run the Meta OS. You never know.
Okay.
And to segue into something relatable here, we've got the first announced headset. Asus is creating a VR gaming headset.
Look at that beautiful thing on that guy's face. Isn't that gorgeous?
With the Meta Horizons OS. So you could get a Republic of Gamers VR headset.
It looks like you're just wearing your underwear on your face now. I don't know what the appeal of this thing is. I'm sorry. I don't get it.
You've never put one on and tried it, I guess.
No, I don't. I don't want to.
So, ROG Republic of Gamers is the brand of Asus hardware. They make some pretty good gaming equipment, and it looks like they're going to be one of the first
Go back to
ones.
Zuckerberg for a second. Is he seriously?
Okay.
He seriously created his own profile called Zuck? Oh God, this guy. Just pause this for a second. This guy is trying so hard to be relatable. It's embarrassing. I cannot watch this guy. It's like whatever. Is this so? This is on Instagram. I'm assuming his account is called Zuck.
Yep.
Yeah. This is so. How's it going, fellow children? Like this is whatever. Anyways, go on.
I've seen that meme 3 times today.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Zuck's gonna Zuck. What can I say? You've got the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company. Billion. I said billion. It sounded like million. $1 billion company, and they're in charge of all of this fancy new hardware that's pushing boundaries. And he's making a video while holding a lav microphone.
Yeah, he's trying to be. I get it. He's trying to be relatable. I understand. This is what the kids do, right? So get the small cheap mic. They hold it up to dogs' noses and they sniff, and it's funny. But whatever. Anyway, stick to Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I don't know. Whatever. So.
And then this has nothing to do with anything. Just a shameless plug.
No,
we've got a release webinar
coming out. This is awesome.
Yeah, we've got a release webinar coming up. So we'll probably talk about how we integrate with AI with our web components and some other really cool stuff. Theme builder enhancements. So we've got like this tool that lets you WYSIWYG design all of your themes for your AI or for your UI components. Lots of good stuff in here. There's suites across all of JavaScript and all of .NET. So make sure you tune in. Go to Telerik.com, hit the yellow banner at the top if you're interested. Check us out, see what we're chatting about. Much more intelligent things than AR, VR right now.
Ed, are you guys trying to kill us with features now? Is this the goal? Because there's so many bullet points on that page.
Oh, yeah. And this is just the Telerik stuff. You should see the JavaScript side as well. It's just like Bullet City.
More bullet points. More bullet points.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we will be chatting about stuff there. And then I had to share this last thing. I caught this just before the show started, like literally just before. This was on my Twitter feed. You're going to love this, John. It's like no context needed.
They automated the guy. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, nice. Yep, perfect.
Somebody, could probably tackle this with like heaps of technology that you don't need. So, you could think like, how do I solve this with AI and set up like a camera and all this crazy stuff? But yeah, it's literally a breadboard. And this is one of those light dark sensors.
Yeah.
It's the light sensitive diode. And what it's looking for is, I guess he figured out like there's a set pattern of
trees,
how the trees hit and where you need to jump, and then he just set it up on the screen and hooked it to an actuator to press the space bar.
I love how he's got the sort of California rap playing in the background.
Yeah. This is perfect though. This is like the simplest solution.
We need a category, not stupid human tricks, but more like for technology's sake. I use the phrase Silicon Valley problems require Silicon Valley solutions. This is in the opposite end. This is like, why not? why not have a receptor that just plugs into a breadboard that then hits a gyro that then goes and presses down on the space bar. Perfect.
I mean,
Because we can.com.
if it works.
I don't know.
Anybody that's ever worked in any kind of industrial manufacturing has probably seen
Oh yeah.
much more clever, ridiculous things that
Dude,
power
when I
like
got into
giant
computers,
pieces of equipment.
when I got into computers, I'm like, I'm gonna automate everything. Like, I'm gonna automate my pool's gonna tell my garage door to open when I get home, and it's gonna turn on the hot tub. And it's like, why? We don't need to do all this. I think this is why IoT had that brief stint of like automate everything, and then everyone's like, automate nothing because it's a mess, and like all these things don't talk to each other. And then, we should have like a website or something like because IoT.com or something like that, like because we can.
There really is like so many little niche things that people get into, like
Yeah, I
just
love it.
because. Like garage door openers is one of them.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you want to go down a
garage-
rabbit hole? Go hunt
Garage
for
doors
that.
are like the ultimate hack. They're like, I hate having to press a button. I'm like, oh, this whole act of pressing a button, this has to go, Sure, there's
It's like
plastic, there's garbage piles floating in the Pacific Ocean that need to be tackled, but no, we have to open our garage doors automatically.
Oh man. All right. I think that's it for the show today.
Sorry, I got a bit
John.
ranty there. I didn't mean to crap all over Mark Zuckerberg. I hope you forgive me. But,
Yeah, you did.
I'm being Canadian now. I'm like, sorry, bud, but it's just, I just don't like how we're, whatever. Anyways, yeah, cool. Congrats on the release. That's awesome. Sign up for the webinar.
All right, folks. Have a good weekend, and we will see you soon.